Afternoons with Josh Szeps on ABC Radio.
What's the most difficult book you've ever read? Have you gone in for a Dostoevsky? Have you gone in for a James Joyce? One of James Joyce's most challenging books is Finnegan's Wake. Famously difficult. And later in the show today, I want to know from you whether you have any project that has just gone on and on and on and on and taken a lot longer than you initially expected it to. That conversation is inspired by a gentleman in California, an experimental filmmaker named Gerry Fialka, who started a book club to do readings of Finnegan's Wake. Gerry joins us from California. Gerry, thanks so much for being here.
Josh, what an honor. It's great to be on radio and explore the hidden psychic effects of your medium. That's what James, you see, you don't know what the hidden psychic effects of radio is. We just embrace it. And that's what Joyce was doing with a book. He was saying, why don't we try to understand what reading does to us? Like me and you and all your listeners are going to take a conscious breath in right now. 1, 2, 3. Take a breath in. And now release. You just consciously did something that you do on automatic pilot all day. So he was asking people to consciously read gibberish, no content, in a book, 628 pages, so that you can help understand what reading does to you, how this invention shapes your behavior. All the words you just used, Josh, overload, breakdown, junk mail, slack, that's all in Finnegan's Wake. You turn a breakdown into a breakthrough. You turn a rejection into a redirection. You fall, then you get back up. There's a word in Finnegan's Wake, laugh tears. He took the word laughter and added 2 letters, A and S. That's metaphor. All language is metaphoric. And he changed it to laugh tears. You laugh and you cry. That's the human condition. So, Josh, just repeat after me. Laugh tears.
Laugh tears. Can I say it
There
with an
you
Australian
go.
accent, or do I have to say laugh tears?
Now, you did it fine. But believe me, now you don't have to waste 28 years of your life reading a stupid book.
You're burying the lead there, Gerry, because one thing that I love about this story is that your James Joyce book club, you just mentioned it, took how many years to read Finnegan's Wake?
It took 28 years, but that's at 628 pages. We read a page or 2 a month. It's no big deal. I mean, we're not ending. We're going to keep reading it. It is a big joke. It's like a funeral. You know what Joyce said? Funeral, fun for all. It's like a party. You get together and have fun with your friends.
Did you know when you started the Finnegan's Wake book club that you were going to take almost 30 years to complete the book?
It didn't matter. I don't know anything. That's why I do things. I'm always learning. I'm a student. So I just start things. My film festival's 33 years old. We celebrated last night. It's all films made with a toy video camera. So it's like, you did. How many years you been in radio?
Only 2 on this show.
Wow. Well, I mean, do you have expectations? Like, I'll be in radio for 12 more years. You just start doing things and you live in the moment. This is what life is about. Live in the moment and write a detailed history of the future.
I love it.
That's what it's about. That's what talk radio is all about, is the same thing as Finnegan's Wake. Your listeners are there with you and you're having fun. You're living in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there is a certain magic to all literature in the sense that someone else's brain, and that person may even be dead, is inserting thoughts into my head just because my eyes are scanning squiggles on a page. I just don't normally expect to go into such detail that I spend 28 years analyzing a single text.
Well, Josh, you just nailed it. John Lennon in the $100 Beatles book said, when I read Finnegan's Wake, it felt like I was talking to a friend. And Mark Chapman, who shot John Lennon, had a copy of Catcher in the Rye in his back pocket, and the protagonist, Holden Caulfield, says in the book, when I read a book, it's like I'm talking to a good friend. So this is turning a reading experience, which is eye-oriented, black ink on white paper, into an ear experience. You're hearing how the other people are mispronunciating the words. They all got good educations, and they're mispronouncing the words the way they want to pronounce them. So you're more aware of each syllable. It's language about language. It's turning an eye experience into an ear experience, but you still have to have the text in front of you. Ulysses, you can have the big hotshot actors read it on your radio for 2 days, but you don't have to have the text in front of you. It helps. But Finnegan's Wake, essential. You have to have the text in front of you and hear people reading it.
Yeah, I mean, and so the people who you were reading it with in your book club that took 28 years to read Finnegan's Wake, were you cycling through like individuals who would come in and join the club, or did you have people, were they essentially the same group of people?
No, it changed. One guy just came back last week, and he was gone for 22 years, and he's an English professor. Things happen in life, and you can't do it. Another guy was a big hotshot Disney animator, and he came back, and he's one of the most brilliant Joyce people ever, but he doesn't like to be called a Joyce scholar. We've had from 12-year-old to 95-year-olds, but, it's mainly people, whatever, mid-age, want to go to library and act like they're intellectual. It's all filled with poop and fart jokes, and it's got sexy parts. It's like reading Mad Magazine.
I mean, is it though? Mad Magazine, I instantly understood when I was 12 years old, and I remember being in my late teens and being told that James Joyce was a genius and picking up a copy of Finnegan's Wake in a book club, in a bookshop or a library, and reading River run past even Adams from swerve of shore to bend of bay brings us by a commodious vicus of recirculation back to Houth Castle and environs, and then turning to page 2 and it's kek, coax, walu. I'm like, what? Is this the genius?
Yeah, see, that's what, you did really good there, dude. You are a pro, man. At 16, is this a true story? At 16, you looked at the wake?
Yeah, I looked at it and I put it down and said everyone must be full of hot air about James Joyce. But I didn't understand it.
They are. He pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. And your job as a great radio person is to help people pull the wool over their own eyes. So if you get an epiphany in everydayness from reading, Robert Anton Wilson or Thomas Pynchon or any other Joyce wannabe, all the power to you. If you get an epiphany from reading Mad Magazine, all the power to you. It doesn't matter. Joyce isn't saying you have to read. If you find your niche in life, you found it doing radio, all the power to you. So, it's just like you jump. Look at McLuhan nailed it. Carefully make plans, then do the opposite.
Yeah.
So now, how many years later from 16, you now could read Finnegan's Wake with a group of people and have an epiphany? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But,
yeah. I mean, do you have a favorite part of Finnegan's Wake, or is that
everything? Everything. At first we fall, then we feel. I mean, it's like my wife, she's a pro jazz singer, and when she reads it with us, she goes, "That's the best page ever." And it's like every page is the best page. There's no content, Josh. There's no content. It's like these words you were just saying, junk mail. It's like junk mail on every page.
Gerry, I can't believe. Are you in Venice? Are you in Los Angeles?
Venice, California.
Yeah, look, where were you? I lived in Venice for a year in 2010. I should have joined your book club and gotten some of your infectious enthusiasm. Maybe I would have understood what Joyce was talking about.
Well, you don't want to understand. You just want to probe the hidden psychic effects of radio, literature, talking with people, and try to figure out how these inventions shape your behavior so you might be able to cope with what you don't like about them.
Gerry, thank you. Are you going to do it again? I mean, can we do another Finnegan's Wake book club for the next 28 years?
It doesn't end. It's ongoing forever. I mean, come on. Joyce started the first Finnegan's Wake Reading Club 10 years before it happened, before the book came out in 29. Then T.S. Eliot started one in 47. You know, all these people have been reading the Wake for years. It's not going to end. If my body dies, if people will still be reading the Wake. Look, it's the great question I asked in my podcast. And by the way, Josh, I want you on my podcast. It's like, can you forget to die?
That's a cool question.
Isn't that a cool question?
That
Because
is
you
a
don't know
cool
how to
question.
take them literally or metaphorically. People don't know how to take it. But Joyce forgot to die. He's laughing. He's going, this guy's talking about my book on this radio across the world.
Well,
through Zoom. You know, Joyce invented talk radio through Zoom and disguised it as a book.
Is that what the book's about? Gerry?
That's it.
All right. Thank you for explaining it to us. I feel more enlightened having spoken to you about it.
I failed. I failed, Josh.
No, don't worry. I'm 1% more enlightened. I'm just 1% more enlightened, Gerry. That's all we can hope for.
You mix confusion and chaos with cosmos. He put a word, chiasmos, and deal with combining the two. It's like a center without a margin.
Gerry Fialka, thank you so much for being with us. God bless.
Thank you, Josh. What a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Take care. Gerry Fialka, experimental filmmaker, ran a book club dedicated entirely to James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, and it took them almost 30 years to get through the single book.